Accumulation of quite a few documents and information that we've worked on for quite some time. It seems that there are some things that are affecting the lake that some people aren't aware of, and the city's asked us to present that to them.
So we're going to try and make some of the residents of Andover aware of some of the problems with the lake and maybe some of the solutions that can be taken care of.
Absolutely. I think the research we've done will clearly show some of the things that are affecting the lake and clearly show what can be done to remedy that.
Now, are you working with the city, the DNR, the highway department? Who all is involved in this?
Well, amazingly enough, we worked with everybody, and we have some level of frustration there because we've had some good audiences, but to date, no action. And we think that some of the information we provided absolutely shows the problems and absolutely shows some of the remedies that could be taken now. So the City Council wants us to bring it to them, and they're going to pull these groups together to see if they can affect some action.
I know in your presentation to City Hall there's some pictures from the way the lake looked years ago, and it looks wonderful.
Well, I've lived there 25 years, and it's a slow process. I think the saying is if you put a frog in a pot of water and turn the heat up slowly, it'll cook to death. And I think that's probably an appropriate way to describe what's happened around Lake. It's been a slow process, and in fact, you'll hear somebody say that that's a natural death of the lake, which is not true, and I think we can show that. We'll be showing that to the city clearly.
And one other thing, I realize that there are some timelines here that some action needs to be taken fairly shortly to maybe alleviate some problems that may be irreversible.
Yes, because it turns into a self-fulfilling kind of a situation. The more cattails, the less water, and the less water, the more cattails. Eventually, you do promote the accelerated death of the lake, and that's really kind of what's happening. If you starve the lake of water, it will die, and it is.
And with the new construction going in on Round Lake Boulevard, that's going to complicate matters even more?
Well, that's a situation where Round Lake Boulevard, if anybody's been by there, knows that there's just a narrow area between Round Lake and then the swampy low area on the other side. And there's some real concern that during that construction there could be some irreversible drainage of the lake or who knows what. We've talked to the highway department, or tried to, and we have no idea what they've done to take that into consideration. We at one point had even proposed a slurry ditch, and they're not going to do that, and it had been proposed to put in mats, and they're not going to do that. So, and they're not telling us what they do intend to do to protect the lake. They just won't even talk to us. Okay.
Now, you have made a presentation to the City Council, and I believe we're going to get an opportunity to see that and let some of the residents of Andover see what's taken place so far. And just as a new resident to the area, I want to thank you for putting in a lot of time and effort, and hopefully we can get the lake into a state that it was in years ago.
Go ahead. You have a presentation to give us, and I understand that pretty much similar to what you and I had talked about a couple weeks ago?
Yes, I did condense it a little bit.
Okay, good. Thank you.
First of all, elected officials, neighbors, thanks for having us here this evening. I'm here representing the Round Lake Association of Anoka County, and we're here because we have concerns about Round Lake. We think that we've done our homework.
Could you turn that microphone towards you a little bit more so that it picks it up for the people at home? Just twist it, yeah.
We've done our homework, so I believe that with this presentation that you'll find that if you allow us to go all the way through it before you ask questions, that a lot of the questions you have will be answered. If you please. you talk to people that are familiar with Round Lake, live on it, live near it, have been around it, as I have, I've lived there for 25 years, we've always felt that something was wrong with Round Lake. And in fact, in 1989 and 1990, the Andover Neighborhood Preservation Association attempted to resolve some of the issues that we had back then that we felt contributed to the decline of Round Lake. At that time, we were in fact unsuccessful in really accomplishing anything, in my opinion, but I think tonight you'll see that not only are the causes of the decline of Round Lake fairly obvious, but they're fairly easily remedied without a lot of cost, without a lot of effort. I think most of all, it just takes an understanding of what's going on with the lake. If you look here, you'll see what appears to be something from Mars. I can't imagine that anybody would look at that and say, well, that looks like a nice lake. What surprises me is how many people that look at that say, well, yeah, that's Round Lake. It's a shallow, swampy lake. And they really feel that this is the normal state of Round Lake. It is not, and I'll show you that. But that's the biggest problem that we've had, I think, all along, is trying to get across that this is not the normal Round Lake, and it doesn't have to be that way, nor should it be that way. To give you a better idea of what the concentration of cattails on the east side really looks like, it looks something like this. In 2000, 1999 and 2000, as the lake started to recover from the drought, and the lakes do go up and down, we're fully aware of that, Round Lake did not recover, and due to that, we began to see a colonization of cattails on the east side of the lake that's never been there before, at least not in the 25 years that I've lived there. And we, in fact, have Ruth, who's lived, she's 83, I don't know how long she's lived there, but many, many years. So if you look at this picture and say, this is normal, you're wrong. This is not normal, particularly in what was the open part of the east side of Round Lake. This is kind of an earlier picture. This shows you the kind of the start of it in 2000. You can see how it was starting to consolidate the east side. What you have to understand is cattails will not grow in certain depths of water, and that's why there has not been cattails colonizing that part of the lake up until now, because even though it was shallow, it was not, in fact, I would tell you that there are parts of the lake over here where the bottom is actually exposed. It's wet, but you're looking at the bottom of the lake. That's never been before. Cattails, and I'm not an expert, but I've lived with them for 25 years, I can tell you, they need water that's approximately 1 to 2 feet deep. When you start to get water that's 3-4 feet deep, they drown. They literally drown, and you'll see them roll upside down and do some crazy things. So it's very important that the depth of the lake be maintained at what it normally should be, or you'll get just what you're seeing now. And here's another picture that is a little before that yet. You can see, I kind of did that backwards, but you can see how we started with a clear area, and it gradually is turning into something undescribable. And to go back just a little bit earlier, this is 1997, and here you can see that it is clear. There are no cattails. So for those of you that would look at those pictures and say, that's about what I expected, that really is not correct. One of the things that was exciting was to run across this picture this morning at the Anoka County Historical Society of Round Lake. There's not a person in here that would probably believe that's Round Lake. But if you look closely, you'll see water lapping up on the sand beach. I can assure you, if you wish to check it out, that's the exact documents that you would look for at the Anoka Historical Society. I don't have my glasses on, so I don't know if that's focused or not.
Looks
If it
good.
isn't, would somebody say focus?
Yeah, looks okay.
Doesn't look focused. And for a little dramatics, I'm not sure that a lot of you are aware of it, but Andover was originally founded as Round Lake Township in 1860. It's called Grove Township in honor of Senator Galusha Grove of Pennsylvania. Why, I don't know, but it's kind of interesting. As I promised you before, we're not coming here with problems. I believe we're coming with solutions. But first you have to have some understanding of what Round Lake really is. And again, I just want to assure you, this is not what Round Lake should look like. This was our first indication of the problem. I believe that it was Kurt Wibbles who researched this and came up with, because we were always told when we complained to the DNR, in fact in 1989 and 1990 we had a big petition and there was a big meeting and it all came down to, well, just wait and the water will come back. The water goes down and the water comes back and you just have to wait. All the lakes go through those cycles. Well, this time, the cycle was stunted, stopped by something that was fairly obvious, and it's showing up on the water level charts from the DNR. I've had some people question the authenticity of these. If you go to DNR's website, Lake Finder, that's exactly where this information came from, and you can easily get that to check it. We did, in fact, take the last couple of years from each chart so that you could compare them and see what we're talking about. This is the more complete chart of Round Lake's water levels. And again, you can see how the recovery is stinted by something. We believe we know what that something is. This is a little more challenging to look at, but I think if you bear with me, it will become clear. If you look closely, you can see a line going down to, this is the Rum River, and I believe you can see that there is a ditch there. If you ask somebody, they'd say, well, that ditch has been there forever, and I've checked, it's been there a long time. The problem is that it was not active. It did not actively drain surface water, nor did it drain groundwater that it is now. We believe that that activation occurred when this area was developed. I apologize, I forget the name of the subdivision, but it was the northwest side of Round Lake. Anybody know what that is?
Lakeview Terrace, that area, or that's more just
Where the
north?
sheriff lives.
That's over the Kelsey Park area?
Yeah. It doesn't matter, I guess.
There's about 3 different developments.
Yeah,
When
there's several.
when they did that subdivision, they excavated in this area pretty intensely. And they knocked down the beaver dam that was there and drained that area so they could build, I guess. I don't know exactly why. But that's when the real trouble started. To further enhance that, the beavers went back and built the dam again. And then when the city went in to build the park,